A woman who was allegedly beaten to death right outside the Kapolei police station on Tuesday night.
Yeah, the police union is blaming the prosecutor's office for releasing the suspected killer despite an earlier attack on an officer in Mililani. And our Casey Lunn joins us now with more on that. Casey, what can you tell us this morning?
Steve, Grace, good morning. It's hard to believe that all that happened right out here in front of the Kapolei substation. This was Tuesday night. I want to introduce Robert Cavaco. He's the president of the state's police union. Robert, when we talk about that gentleman, Michael Armstrong, who was arrested for assaulting a law enforcement officer, why wasn't he charged with a felony assault on a law enforcement officer on Monday night when that happened originally, before he was released?
Well, you know, the prosecutors was saying that they needed to do further follow-up in order to charge, Mr. Armstrong. We find it, we find it appalling that the prosecutor's office is gonna not charge somebody because of that. When you take a look at this case, they had 48 hours to charge him. They were 24 hours in to conferring the case with the detective. And then if they needed a follow-up, when they said as far as the lighting conditions, it gets dark at 6 or 6:30. They had until 9:30 p.m. on Wednesday to charge this individual. The detective could have went to the house at 6:30, snap a couple photos, see that the lighting was proper, and then come back to the station, tell the prosecutor's office that everything's good to go, and then charge the individual. They still had time to do this. This is something that's very frustrating for our members, that has been going on for years, and it finally came to fruition with the loss of life of an innocent lady that was sitting in front of the Kapolei police station. It's absolutely appalling.
And when we talk a little bit about the relationship that HPD has with the prosecutor's office, is this part of a bigger picture and maybe a flaw in that relationship? What's going on? I mean, I think people want to know.
Well, it's not really a relationship. You know, a relationship with the prosecutor's office and the police department should be a working relationship, working together to keep these major offenders behind bars. The police officers are there doing a good job making the arrests. It's the responsibility of the prosecutor's office to charge these people, you know, and keep them behind bars. And in this case, obviously, they dropped the ball. They dropped the ball.
Does this speak to a larger concern as SHOPO has raised about staffing shortages, the amount of officers, and really at the top levels of HPD leadership? How can we do better?
So, you know, with our press conference that we did last week, we're very happy because now we have made awareness to all of the stakeholders. You know, the mayor has made comments of support. We got city council involved in the discussion, the police commission. We got Chief Vanek and the administration at least making some changes now to our staffing in our districts. So they're receptive. We're going to meet with them next week. So we're making progress. And I think that's all we can ask for, is that we communicate and go back and forth together in order to solve this crisis regarding the staffing.
And when you talk a little bit about, again, that working relationship between the prosecutor's office, what a lot of members, I assume, think is sort of a revolving door of repeat offenders that are arrested one day, let out hours later. What does that do for really the morale among the ranks?
It frustrates our officers because they're out there making these good arrests, these felony cases, and when it gets sent to the prosecutor's office, they either dump the case, they release the person, and it's a feel of frustration and defeatedness. You feel defeated because you're doing your end of the bargain, but then the prosecutor's office is not doing theirs, and that's what's frustrating about it. You know, with this particular case, the suspect had 18 prior arrests and he was a convicted felon. Obviously, he met the charging criteria that the prosecutors had. So if he met the charging criteria that they have to charge the individual, then charge him. You know?
Robert Cavaco, president of the state's police union, and we want to also mention that we did reach out to the Honolulu Police Department. They declined to join us this morning for comment on this case and a larger conversation about staffing other than Interim Chief Roddy Vanek's comments that he made at the Police Commission's meeting yesterday. We will continue to reach out to HPD. We will have a conversation coming up with a city council member later on Sunrise. For now, we'll send things back to you guys in the studio.
All right, thanks, Casey.